right. Thank you guys for joining. Well, my name is Loyalite Stewart-Russell. I am a self-esteem coach, speaker, and an author. And welcome to Coaching Conversation, episode 9, which is the final episode for season 1. And I can't believe I'm saying final episode for season 1. Can you believe it?
Time run quick.
Can I tell you? So tonight we're joined by my good friend. I love her so much. Chantaeu Munroe. I mean, she's a trauma coach. She's a speaker. She's all of that good juice. And I'm happy to have her on tonight to talk to us about trauma and how, she can help persons out there. I mean, so much is happening right now. Everybody need a coach. I mean, trauma is something that is affecting practically all of us. So she's here tonight to give her some tips and insights. So I'll hand over to you now, my guest, to tell us a little about you. Just introduce yourself.
A little bit about me. I always ask that question. I'm like, where do I start? Because I feel like I'm just a big book of a lot of things. But to put it in a nutshell, I'm passionate about helping people to heal. And so my journey with corporate Jamaica ended last year, and I took up the mantle of starting my own company, CKM Healing Consultancy, where we pretty much walk persons through, not just have a one session and then leave them, walk them through the journey of healing and becoming who God really originally intended for them to be outside of their trauma. And it doesn't stop there. I am the author of the book Layers of Healing, Discovering Purpose in Pain and Trauma. It's still so real saying that, like, I literally wrote a book. That's
real.
One of 3 books, by the way. And I absolutely enjoy nature. So even though it's raining and it's bad news, I thoroughly am enjoying the rain and the coolness that it comes with, because Kingston hot, bad. Yeah. Kingston is very, very, very hot. And I would describe myself as a colorful person. I was not always a colorful person. Hey, warrior queen. I was not always a colorful person. Actually, I gravitated towards dark colors a lot. And I think it fits where I'm coming from, the dark times of where I'm coming from. And so as God continues to heal me, because we're never truly really healed from every single thing. It happens in layers, right? And so as God continues and continued to heal me, I started to gravitate towards colors that made me feel lighter and at peace and just joy and just pretty. So, that's me in a nutshell. Oh, there's an event that I'm planning. So, I wrote a book and started a company. I'm now having the event called Layers of Healing, Trauma Symposium and Book Launch. Even though, yes, we have book launch tied to it, it's really not just about the book. And hence why with every registration, you get a signed copy with your name in it of the book, along with other goodies. But really, the essence of the event is to have, though my story is one of what we call missed miscarriage. And for those of you who are on that don't know, a missed miscarriage is one where you can only find out through an ultrasound. With a miscarriage, a person knows because their body starts to show signs and symptoms and whole heap of things, so you know what's happening. With a miscarriage, you don't know. Your body doesn't tell you anything. Nothing happens really. Your body just continues like you're pregnant. So that's what happened to me. I found out through an ultrasound that I'd lost twins at the time at 8 weeks. And so I wrote a book about that. But I also provide a workbook inside the book to help persons heal, not just from loss like that, but just loss generally, and abandonment and rejection and all other things that came with it. So at the event, we will have a flip where men will be talking about their experiences with this type of trauma and how it has affected them as a man, and what are some things that they had to do to heal. Right? So the event is December 6th at 5:30 p.m. That is a Friday. At 5:30 p.m. at the Lavish Palms. And of course, we'll talk about it more after this interview process has ended. But in a nutshell, that's me.
Yes. Colorful woman.
Thank
you are. Right. All right. So as you said before, you know, you have gone through your own trauma. So in a nutshell, can you explain what trauma really is though?
Trauma is the little and the big things, because people tend to think that it is just the big catastrophic things like a hurricane or an earthquake, or a death, or sexual abuse, physical abuse. It's also those little things that, once consistently exposed to it, overrides our body's natural ability to cope. So some of us are able to cope with getting, for example, a prick from a needle, and you quickly bounce back because, ouch, that hurts. You bounce back from it, yes? But then you have those instances where, let's say you grew up in a household and your parents provided every physical thing that you needed: clothes, shoes, shelter, food, but they never hugged you, never told you that I love you, never showed that affection, that emotional reassurance. Over time, consistent exposure to something else, some people would call it simple as that, can lead to suffering from trauma, which can eventually result in that person constantly isolating themselves, that person constantly sabotaging themselves on every opportunity. It could lead to them isolating themselves, and it could lead to just anxiety and trust issues, which, believe it or not, can lead to lifestyle diseases or just unhealthy coping mechanisms like smoking, sex addict, all sorts of things, drinking, just to numb the feeling of not being accepted or being enough, because that was not present in the foundation of growing up. And so trauma is anything, any experience, situation that overrides our body's natural ability to cope, to show up in the world, in life, in the different spaces that we have to show up in. I hope that was clear.
It was. It was definitely clear. It was definitely clear. And so, I mean, when persons have faced traumas, though, it kind of holds them back, you know, put them in a, as you said, a dark place. But how do we get out of that dark place, though, from your experience? I know everybody's experience is different, but how did you start your journey of getting over?
So, I mean, my experience was a bit different. If I should start from the first time I experienced trauma, but God played or plays a very, very, very important part in my story. I mean, coming from having suicidal ideations, and what that is a concentration or focus on wanting to get rid of your life, and getting into a space where God was literally calling me unto himself to get baptized, to receive him as my Lord and Savior. And eventually I listened to the call, right? And so when the big thing that happened in my life that really turned my life upside down, which is when I got pregnant with twins, that definitely was a tipping point, which also forced me to deal with all the other experiences that I'd gone through that I've never dealt with, whether in counseling or healing and deliverance at all. And so for me, it was God literally coming in at the right time and say, not this one. You're not taking this on. I've worked for her to do. So when I'd gone through the loss, several weeks later, it really hit me that I'd gone through a loss. I felt worthless. I lost my relationship at the time. And I just felt like I didn't have any purpose because I was not able to produce. I was not able to maintain a relationship that I valued so much. And I literally felt like I was losing my mind. Like, literally felt like I was losing my mind and everything that I thought I was made up of. And in that moment, or in those moments rather, again, God stepped in and said to me, the love that I was looking for in the people and places, He was always giving it to me. Why won't I just receive it? And I remember I was literally in New Kingston walking around that afternoon, literally walking randomly in New Kingston. I don't know what I did, but just to feel like no.
Yeah.
Walking in New Kingston when I heard that, and I broke down. I broke down, and shortly after that, I decided to get help. So help looks like doing healing and deliverance from my church. Big up Church on the Rock, Kingston. Help also look like in that particular season, getting help from a psychologist. Help also look like taking time away from everything to really have moments with God, have moments with myself, to really allow myself to break apart.
Yes.
A lot of people are afraid of breaking apart. But at that time, I was already broken. So, I mean, what am I going to lose? I allowed myself to break apart so that at the time, I didn't know that God was building me back up. But I felt like breaking apart was the only thing I had left to do because I didn't know what else to do.
Right.
So I allowed myself to break apart, as painful as it was, so that God could put me back together in a way that solidified my identity in Him, and therefore solidifying my identity in myself, solidifying self-worth, and accepting that love that He gives for myself so I can then give it to other people. And that started my healing journey from that experience. But trauma is such a thing where, you know how they say time heals all wounds? Trauma is the opposite. Trauma left untreated becomes one of the most toxic things that you could leave in your body. It's like stress, right? You don't find a way to release it in a healthy way, your body will start to show it up as things that you probably don't like. It could be insomnia, it could be migraines over time, it could be just an addiction towards something that is literally blocking you from dealing with the thing, right? And so even opening up myself to be broken in that season, 4 years later, one Mother's Day, I got a message to say Happy Mother's Day. Usually, because before Mother's Day would have passed, but Mother's Day in that year, I don't know. I found myself just bawling, just a bawl, and the Holy Spirit said to me in that time, "There's still more work to be done." And hence why I say in my book, healing happens in layers. Because you strip one layer and
there's
some people think, yeah, man, I'm good now, I'm past that. But then there's something else. There's a deeper layer. And so there's a deeper layer for me to heal. And there was more of the character that I would have adopted from the world that I needed to let go of, so that God could put or equips me with His character, so I can be fit for where I'm going now. So here. And so I had to once again allow myself to break apart, to be made up.
Wow.
So to summarize all of what I just said, how can you heal from trauma? It starts with the decision to try. It starts with the decision to try. Once you've made up your mind that you will try to become something else other than what this trauma has been dictating for you to be, you are one step ahead. You're one step closer to being healed. So when you've decided that you're going to try, right, get help. Pain will want to isolate you. Pain will tell you that nobody cares, that nobody's listening, that nobody's seeing you, that you're not important, and therefore you'd want to isolate. Get help.
Get help. That's a key word. Get help.
Yes, because there are more people out there hurting like you than you realize. Right?
True.
And believe me, when I was in pain, my pain convinced me that one, nobody cared, but I started to project on people. I was like, why is nobody in my church asking me if I'm okay? And then I was saying to myself, how can they ask if you're okay if
when they don't know?
Right?
They don't know.
And just to show you how crippling and how blindfolding pain can become. So deciding to just try, getting help. And then when you've started to get help, just keep moving. One step at a time, one day at a time, just keep moving, no matter what. One little step is a big deal. That one little step could look like you just getting up off of your bed and your foot touch the ground and you reach to the door and you reach to the bathroom. That's a big deal.
Big deal.
It's a big deal.
But just beautiful. And you see, she said something important. You know, you have to acknowledge that something is wrong and that you're in a space where it's not serving you. Not that it is going to go away all entirely all at once, but it's going to come back because we're humans and you're going to have your days when you feel like, okay, then I am back where I was. But I always tell my clients, feel, but don't let it consume you to the point where it breaks you back down, right? Don't put yourself back into that situation. As you said, get help, right? Nobody will know. You wanted somebody to reach out to you, but how do they reach out to you when they don't know what you're feeling? They don't know what you're going through. They see Chantaeu show up. Oh, she's all this lovely, but beneath that,
I was showing up because I had a non-profit organization that I was a founder of, Reach, Inspire, Ignite, and we used to do interviews like this. We even filmed a mini movie about sexual abuse, and I was showing up,
and no one knew what was going on the inside. So you see, we become masters of masking our pains. But then, you know, I got something from what you have said, you know, there's, I would say there's purpose in your pain.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's hard to hear that when you're in the pain, but there is purpose in there.
Right. Beautiful. So you're an overcomer.
Oh, absolutely.
You're an overcomer. You're an overcomer. and I can say, yeah. And I can also, all right, so Chantaeu, we know that, all right, you have taken that step and you're where you are today. But can you tell us, it's a process, right?
Oh, absolutely. Like, I'm still trying to figure it all out. Like, so one of the things that I want to say is that you do not get over what you've gone through. The mere fact that your body keeps a score of the things that you go through.
Yeah.
It's like a scar or it's like a surgery. You can always go back and track it back. You can always track back where it's coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And so therefore you don't just get over it. However, when you start the healing journey, when you continue to decide to heal, what happens is that you start to develop healthy coping mechanisms. You start to develop better ways to exist, better ways
Yes.
to live, better ways to show up. So much so that you can look back on the memory and it does not hurt anymore. The bitterness doesn't boil up in your inside. The pain, the anger doesn't boil up on the inside anymore. And so you learn how to adapt and cope with the reality of, yes, I've gone through this, but this is one chapter in my story. This is
Yes.
one chapter or probably one page in my story, and I'm still alive years later or months later. It means that there is more. And so
Beautiful.
that thing does not define or take away from your value, who God says that you are. Yeah. But you just add it to the list of things that I've overcome, add it to the list of things that has shown you that
Yeah.
you are resilient, that you can do hard things and still come out okay.
And that you are not what you have gone through. And also, whatever you have gone through, I've always said this. I knew, having low self-esteem back then, working on me and being where I am today, sitting down and alive, that I never thought I would have done. I can say it was never for me. I had gone through what I had gone through in order to help somebody else.
Oh, absolutely.
My story is not for me.
Yep.
It's to inspire and to help others.
Yep.
Right? So I've learned that. So you going through all of that trauma, all of that pain, I am sure you had some takeaways from them. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you can give about 3.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Go ahead.
All right. So I would want to piggyback on what you started, right? Where you're saying that it's not just about you. Literally, what you would have gone through exists to serve someone else, right? It's about leaving a legacy. It's about breaking. Sometimes what you've gone through had to start with you so that the generational curses, the unhealthy soul ties, the ungodly beliefs had to stop with you. So,
yes.
I repeat, what you would have gone through, you had to be the one to go through it, unfortunately, so that a lot of the stuff that existed from before you stops with you. Yes? What that means is that because it stops with you, it therefore means you're now rewriting the script into what generations after you can and will become.
Beautiful. Love that. Love that. Love that. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So, though it's painful, though it feels unbearable, believe me, I understand. Though it feels unbearable, if you could just push through a little bit more, just push through it a little bit more, I promise you. Let me correct that. If you push through a little bit more with God.
Yes.
I had to put that in there.
Yes. With God.
A little bit more with God.
Yes.
I promise you that there is joy on the other side. There is peace on the other side. That peace that surpasses all understanding. Yes. I promise you. Like, if you push through a little bit more with God and it don't work, I'm not name on my name.
True. Say that a little louder.
Promise you, pushing through with God, there's something to come on the other side. He's not going to waste any experience that you've gone through.
And no experience with Him, all things are possible.
Yeah.
It's not something. It's all things are possible with Him. Yes, I'm hearing you.
So the first one is not all about you. Sometimes what you go through, you have to go through it so that what comes next stops with you.
Wow. Say that again.
That's how I remember Mr. Joke.
Yeah.
I'm saying um, it's not all about you. Sometimes you have to be the one to go through what you're going through so that all of the generational trauma, the curses, the ungodly soul ties, and the beliefs stop with you.
Right there, so. Stop right there, so.
And so with that in mind, the other thing I'd want to add is, I know people say it's a lot, but be gentle with yourself. In
Wow.
that, when you're going through the things, recognize that you have come such a long way.
Yes.
Up to the point of where you feel like you can't make it anymore. You have made it such a long way.
Yes.
And it means that the thing that you're going through currently, I'm pretty sure there are other things that you would have gone through that in that moment you thought that, Jano, this not McCann. But here you are.
Yes.
Here you are facing another mountain. It simply means that clearly there is some resilience inside of you. Clearly there is purpose inside of you. Yes? Clearly you are stronger than you think. And therefore recognize these things and allow the recognition and acknowledgement of these things to encourage you to push forward, to encourage you to be more gracious towards yourself. So the same love, care, consideration, and compassion that you give towards other people freely, easily, please
give it to
yourself.
Beautiful. That's the word. Yeah. And it's okay
to give it to yourself. Yeah.
It's okay.
Practice to give it to yourself. Stand up in the mirror and say to yourself, girl, I'm proud of you. Boy, I'm proud of you. I'm so happy that you've made it this far. You're doing the best that you can with what you have. It's okay. I love you and I'm proud of you. Like I tell myself I'm proud of myself. I love on myself. Actually give myself hugs.
Yes, just celebrate yourself.
Give myself hugs, right?
You have to celebrate yourself. You know how far you have been toiling from. You know the layers.
Yeah.
You know the layers you had to go through. You know the layers. Some of them you don't even know what's left to come, but you know how many layers you have gone through to reach here.
Exactly.
Celebrate you.
Exactly.
It's okay.
Yep.
It's okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So the first one is, it's not all about you. The second one is give yourself some grace. And finally, the third, it's okay to not be okay.
Wow. Oh my.
God never asked you for perfection. I mean, it's okay to not be okay.
True.
There is nobody that is holding you to the standard that you have set in your head than the standard that's in here. When you get out of your head and recognize that almost everybody around you is hurting from something, you'll recognize that it is okay to not be okay. And you will be the first one to not be okay. And you will survive.
You will survive. Trust me. Trust me. You will survive.
So as much as you're crying in your head that, geez, peace, Lord, it's okay.
True.
It's okay to not be okay.
And
it's okay to allow yourself to break apart.
Yeah. It's true. And you know what, Chantaeu, I find out that a lot of us try to live up to society's expectation. We're humans. We're humans.
Society, but culture too.
Well, that's true too. We're humans, and it's okay for us to say, oh, hey, today I'm not okay. You don't always have to put on a front to say that, oh, I'm always this bubbly. No, it's okay. Tell yourself for real, it's okay. Yep. It's okay. You understand what you are feeling. they're on the outside looking in. You know what you're feeling. It's okay to take a step back.
Yep.
It's totally okay. I love that. You're dropping some gems and drip up tonight, you know. You're drip up some tonight, you know. But, you know, it's worth it, though. It's worth it, though. Yeah. And I love those 3 points, you know. Really important, you know. It's not about you. Whatever you've gone through, it's not about you. I keep saying that. It's not about me. You know, we keep...
And the other part, too, it's not about you, because maybe the thing that you go through, you had to go through it so that the things that once was, like trauma, stops with you. Yeah.
So everything stopped with you. You had to go through it to cut it off, to break the generational curse. And you know, you start building generational wealth and leaving a legacy and all of these things. Beautiful, beautiful, Chantaeu. So, okay, you're a coach, you're a speaker, you're an author, you're a consultant, you're all of the good juices. How did you get into the coaching world, you know? Was it because of what you have gone through? Because for me, that was why I definitely got there. Well, I had to be coached into becoming a coach. I say that all the time because I knew about counseling. I knew about, you know, all of these things, therapy and all of these things, but I never know anything about coaching. And of course, broken and all of this, I went to Coach Crystal. Didn't even know that, you know, I thought I was healed, you know, but I was so bitter and unforgiving. But I say, you know, I'm forgiven and all of that, you know. But I had one encounter with her and she was like, no, Loyalette, no. You're not totally forgiven. You're not totally healed. I'm like, okay then. She sent me back to the drawing board. Yeah, and I had to do the work, you know. And I always tell people, you know, you have to be willing to do the work to get the results.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So that's where my journey started, you know. I healed and all of that. And she said, yeah, you're ready. Yeah, big up Coach Crystal. Yeah, big deal coach. Yeah. You know. So that was where my journey of coaching started. And I noticed there's a lot of persons who have low self-esteem, you know. So that's my need, you know, helping them to overcome low self-esteem. See yourself as worthy, accept you, you know, celebrate yourself, set healthy boundaries and all of these things. It's okay, right? So that's how my journey started. So tell me if that's how your journey started.
No, it was not. So my journey is a little bit different in that I wrote in my book that I feel like I've been on the job training since I was 7 years old, which is when I could remember the most traumatic experience starting. And the reason why I said that was because growing up, I was always the peacemaker, the person who would provide an alternative perspective to a situation that would otherwise bring peace and a solution that's workable for everyone. And that has been my life for a long time. And so I was always fascinated with the body and how it works, the mind and how it works. And so I thought that even though I spent pretty much more or less 10 years in banking, investments, and insurance, even in those spaces, I was always being the burden bearer, the peacemaker for even my clients, people I come across. And so for a while, I thought I was going to be a surgeon because, you know, helping people to... And then in 2018, God told me, psychology or psychiatrist. That's all I got. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I'm sending you to help people heal their mind with my help. I'm sending you to unburden people and giving him back their burden so that he can get through to them in such a way that would permanently cause them to heal and find themselves back to him. And so in 2018, I started that journey of researching psychology and just getting into the space of studying psychology. I didn't know that it was going to be trauma. I just know that with this already existing fascination of bio and the human body and how we work and how we function. In 2019, I started a nonprofit that we used to tell people's stories, pretty much sharing the testimonies of persons so that others can recognize that they're not alone and they can get through their tests. And then 2019, 2020, God was like, you know, it's soon time to leave where I worked at the time. And you're going to step into purpose full time, which would look like me helping people to heal. Again, I didn't know at that time in 2020 that it was going to be trauma. It was going to be healing, helping people to heal their mind, right? So telling people stories, eventually God was like, you need to leave your corporate so I can show you what I have for you. And in that moment, he was like, I have 3 books that I want you to write. Didn't know the name, title of any of the books, right? And as the years progressed, because even in those space that I'm telling you about, I was always like, I could go to a corporate client of mine and I'm sitting with directors and executives of companies and they're offloading to me their private life information because somehow I walk with peace and calm, and somehow talking to me, even if they didn't understand why they're telling me their business, helped them to feel better, right?
Yes.
And so eventually God was like, you need to leave. You need to leave the corporate space so I can show you, so I can equip you, so I can show you what I have for you. And then I started to talk about healing journey of the mind and all of this stuff. So I went back to school to study psychology, still doing courses relating to counseling, psychology, everything having to do with trauma, neuroscience, the brain, how it all works. And then 2023 came after coming back from a vacation. God was like, don't make this your party, you don't leave. I'm like, what do you mean? I have bills to pay.
See, I should said it.
At this point, I would have completed my second degree in psychology. I would have completed, no, I never started the specific trauma counseling, coaching courses as yet. But I would have completed my second degree in psychology. So in 2023, he was like, don't make this your past and you don't leave. He made the space so depressing and uncomfortable that I like couldn't show up at work anymore. I could not that the people were bad.
Yes.
It's just the heaviness that I felt, the purposelessness that I felt every time I showed up in that building, every single time. And it was becoming so unbearable mentally that I was like, okay, God, all right. Write the resignation letter.
Yeah, the big leap.
And then I left. Yeah. Having done that, right? Having done that, I started to do trauma intense certification courses. I started to do pretty much dive into the world of trauma.
Yeah.
And doing all the certifications, doing all the courses. The only thing that I have left to do now is my license, which is on the way, which is the master's, clinical master's, clinical psychology master's, right? And so in the midst of all of that, I would have met Crystal. Well, actually, how I met Crystal, I actually interviewed Crystal in 2019. I was sharing her story so that she could be a blessing to someone else. And we kind of kept the link from that time. But little did I know that she would have eventually become my book coach, you know? And all of the other things that she is to me now. But in 2024, that's 2024 we're in?
Yes.
When I sent in that resignation letter last year, December, everything started to become so real. Like, the next step started to be revealed. So the name of the book started to be revealed. I reached out to Crystal, and then she helped me to birth my purpose book. She's also a book coach. She is excellent at what she does,
Yes.
because she's also led by God too. And so connected with the Jamaica Psychology Association, connected with the licensing bodies here to let them know that I'm starting this company, and I want to make sure I say I'm dotting all the I's and crossing the T's, because this is what I'm about to do, because God is like, I'm not waiting, I'm ready now to use you in this way to really help to ignite the minds of people, to help them to heal. And so I registered my company, started writing my book with Crystal, started to reach out to some of the corporate entities that I used to work with that saw that or knew that I was heading in this direction. Because even if you were to go back to my old workplace and ask them about what I'm doing now, they'll be like, yeah, man, long time we didn't know that, because all she taught was a healing and the mind and da da da. So I'm glad she finally did it, because they're like, what are you doing here? You know? And so started to just step into the space completely, and God started equipping me with the people and resources I need to execute. And then he was like, write the book, the book. He's like, plan the event, because in my mind, I'm like, I'm just gonna do a little something, you know, just release a book and do a little something. And God was like, no, we're planning a whole trauma symposium and book launch, which is the first of 3 other events that would cater to educating and help people to heal from things that have been keeping them bound, using healing and deliverance with the science of trauma, to help people to heal. And that's my journey.
Beautiful, beautiful. So it's you helping persons to break free. You helping persons to break free. I see. Aisha said, because they're just a study, and you're not doing what he told you to do. He forced you. Yes, sister, he did. Yes, which is true. And also, Chantal, you know, we have persons, you know, who might be there and they're struggling. And that's the reason why, you know, that's how this whole series came about. I found out that a lot of persons are not sure who life coaches are not sure what life coaches do. So, you know, persons are a bit skeptic also. So in, you know, putting their doubts and all of their, you know, questions to rest. For persons out there who's kind of skeptic, we have worked with coach, we have worked with book coach, speaker coach, coaching coach, we have worked with a lot of coaches, and it has helped us to be where we are today. It's just that we have to be dedicated to do the work. And I emphasize on that because I found out that a lot of persons think it's a quick fix. And it's definitely not a quick fix. Because sometimes you get to off of the wagon, you know. We not always stay on. We drop off some time, but it's a matter of how do I pick myself up and get back on that train, you know. So for those persons who are skeptical, they want to start, but they're, you know, they have them because skepticism, they're afraid, and you know, all of that. What advice would you give to them to start working with a coach? You know, just find the right coach that are aligned with them, who would help them to get where they want to be.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the word right coach. I'd add to that healthy coach. Thank you so much, Cooking with Bev, who said I'm so inspiring.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
thank you so much. Finding a healthy coach is important. Yes. Sometimes when you go through certain things in life, because you've been stuck in that cocoon of pain for so long, it's hard to see a way out of it. It's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's hard to see the positives because you're stuck in this loop, because you're stuck in a cycle, you're stuck in unbelief. And because, like, say you want heal, say you want something different, but you don't know how, you don't know where to turn. That's where a coach comes in the sense that they're able to see outside of what you're not seeing.
Yes.
And they're able to see the endpoint of where you want to probably become or be. And they're able to provide a blueprint strategies to do that, right? And so you have to trust someone who is outside of your pain and your trauma to help you walk through to healing, to help you walk through the pain, to help you walk through the unbelief, to help you walk through your situation, because you cannot effectively do that on your own because you are wounded.
Wow.
When you look at army movies, when you look at, I was gonna say gun show, but when you look at those movies where persons are injured,
yes,
especially if them injured very, very, very bad, there's no way them can pick up themselves and say, "Yo, my foot broken, but guess what? I'm gonna get up and no, they have to wait on somebody to come help them.
True.
They have to wait on somebody to come lift them up, put them on the gurney, and carry them along to the final destination, to the point of safe space where they can stabilize them and start the journey of healing.
Yes, and we would classify them as the quote unquote, bad man, strong man who feel like they don't need anybody. Yes.
So
true.
When you find a coach, trust that that person is able to see outside of your situation, outside of you. Trust that that person has the experiences, the expertise, the knowledge, understanding into what they're doing to help you get to the point that you are unable to see because you're wounded. And that is why you need somebody. I mean, if you have a migraine, if you have a headache, if you have a toothache, if you have something that's wrong, you go to get it checked out. I mean, you do have people who still believe, say, bush are the thing and a bush are gonna help, and then you do have people. I'm about to say something, and Holy Spirit help me through it because you brought it to my mind. You do have people who believe that prayer alone will fix them. Holy Spirit, come on, help me with this. So prayer is powerful. Yes, prayer is powerful. But there's a reason why God gave us wisdom, godly wisdom and understanding to use the resources and people.
But remember too, He also told us to ask for wisdom, knowledge, and understanding.
Yes, because you can be praying from a place of a wounded state and trap yourself in the cycle, in the tomb of where the devil wants you because of your repeated prayers. But you need somebody else who can pray more effectively to drive out the demons, to stir up that warfare. Because if you've never been to the place of warfare, if you've never been to the place of casting out, of binding, how then can your prayers be effective for what needs to be done, right?
Yes.
However, your body is a vessel that is in this world. Your body is of this earth. Yes? Your body was made from the recipes of this world. Yes? And because your body was made from the recipes of this world, check it in Genesis, you need the ingredients that God left to help your body to heal. So prayer alone will not help.
You have to stay that to the word.
Listen, I'm big on prayer. I am a member of the Healing and Deliverance Ministry at my church. I'm a part of the prophetic ministry. And the people on here who know me very well know, say, listen, prayer is my weapon. But not only when I was going through my healing journey, I had healing and deliverance session, but I also had to go to a psychologist. I also had to go to my general GP because I was not sleeping right. And I probably was not eating right either. And they know what they know to help me to say, okay, you need to start this diet, need to start with this. Or these are some coping mechanisms that you can do when your body feels anxious, breathe, all of the stuff, journal. Combined with prayer can effectively start your healing journey. And so, you know, you have people, I've come across people who will say, oh, me just go pray about it and it's like, all right.
Okay.
But what if you're dealing with a general?
My God, sorry about that. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Staying with us.
Yeah, I was able to tell some persons from my page what happened.
Thank you, my darling. The current went, so I got disconnected, but nonetheless, I'm back. Let's continue.
Yes, that's right. People quickly and swiftly coming back on. Guys, let us know if you can hear us, if you can see us, so we can jump back right into the conversation. Yeah. We apologize, guys.
Sorry about that,
I could feel that you guys were like, getting into it. You know?
Oh my, thank you guys for coming back on. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, that's exactly what just happened to her.
Instead of power cut.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for your understanding. Thank you guys. Thank you guys. You know, important things that we're talking about, you know. What's the fun about? So Shanta is the series is called Coaching Conversation. So Shanta is a trauma coach. So we're talking about trauma, having different layers, how you can heal from it, you know, and stuff like that, how important it is to work with a coach and all of that.
Right.
So what happened?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. So what happened after each episode, and I only post it on my Instagram page, so you can go and watch it, or you can go over to YouTube and watch it at Lloyd Stewart-Russell on YouTube. So I normally upload them there, so you can watch all the episodes from 1 to 9, and this 9 is a bonus.
Yeah.
This episode is a bonus, you know, right? So yeah, that's what we're talking about. I am Jody Vanessa.
Yeah. We had left off on, she had asked me what my advice would be to persons who are hesitant about getting help from a coach. And so I was emphasizing on the fact that because sometimes we're caught up in or stuck in the cycle of feeling pain, because we are stuck in the trauma of whatever it is that we're going through, it's important to get help from somebody who is on the outside, who is able to see clearly the journey, and is able to help you along that journey. And I was saying it's important to find a healthy coach, counselor, psychologist to help you on the journey. And I started to get into the fact that prayer alone is not the only ingredient that's needed to help you to heal. there are some other things that you need to add to the pot to make healing effective. And so I was saying how, you know, some people will stick to herbs and medicine, and that's it. They'll never go check out stuff. And then you have some persons who believe that prayer alone will fix everything. And so I was emphasizing the fact that God provides the ingredients that could look like people, resources, to help you along with prayer to heal holistically. That means taking into consideration not just your mind but your body, right? Because if you've reached to a state of trauma, it means that you are now in a space where you're unable to cope, right?
Yes.
It means that now you're in a space where you're so triggered that you resort to unhealthy coping mechanism, unhealthy outlets, right?
Yeah.
And so, right. And so it means that along with prayer, you're going to need the people and the resources that God probably placed there to help you to heal holistically.
Yes.
Yeah? I know some people, I mean, because I've come across people who they believe that prayer alone will help them and them not need people and they're good by themselves over here, which says to me that's probably a traumatic response, which says to me too that if you're unwilling to get other help or get more help, which could look like going to a professional, going to a coach, it then makes me question, do you really trust God? And so that's where I was heading with that conversation.
Yeah.
You know, prayer is effective. I don't have with prayer, but you need more, or in addition to, you need to get help outside of,
Yes.
And so I think I had also made reference to the fact that while I was going through my mess, healing and deliverance was one of the things in my toolbox. Therapy was one of the things in my toolbox, but also I had to take some action to change some stuff, like eating differently, like figuring out a healthy sleeping pattern so that I could sleep properly, or figuring out or exercising the things that the therapist would tell me in terms of how to regulate my emotions. And then you had healing and deliverance, which now equips me with the weapons. Yes. The weapons of warfare to stand and decree and declare and bind up. But even in that healing and deliverance room, they take you back to the source of the curse, the unbelief, right? Which in a way is also practices from psychology, but they bring you to a state where now that we've identified the spirits behind the things, we start do some casting out. We start do some binding up. Yes. And so I'm getting equipped from that point of view, right? Practical equipment. But I'm also getting equipped from the psychological point of view. Yes. But I'm also getting equipped from the general practitioner, my doctor, who will say to me, you need to take more vitamins and you need to to help your body. And I think one of the points I made was that our bodies were made from the ingredients of this earth. It means, therefore, that there are ingredients in this earth. There are things here that we need to pull down on to help us to heal. And you cannot just... Holy Spirit, let me just say that. There are certain things. So, for example, if I didn't go to healing and deliverance, because my issue was not just pain from psychological trauma, right?
Yeah.
My issue was also generational curses and dysfunctions that did not start with me. And I don't know not about.
But it
At the
was
time,
passed on to
healing
you.
and deliverance and pull down. And at the time, I didn't know. Like, I'm now an effective member of the healing and deliverance ministry at my church. But at that time, I never know not about generational curses and soul ties and ungodly beliefs and all of this stuff. Yeah.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it means that I had to get help from somebody who knew the how to receive
Right. Right.
proper holistic healing and then combining both. So sometimes when you're going through, not sometimes, when you're going through a traumatic experience, notice as a traumatic experience because it means therefore you've reached to a point where it's as if you can't bounce back on your own.
Yeah.
Because not everybody is traumatized. Sometimes
Right.
you're just going through a situation and you don't know how to navigate it emotionally, but it does not mean that you're traumatized. But you
Right.
do have people who have been exposed to traumatic experiences and it completely overrides their ability to show up as a healthy human being. I'm talking about those experiences. Those experiences, you alone can't pray yourself out of those experiences. You need help.
Help.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everywhere you turn, whether you ever pray or you need help. You need help.
So you can't just stay in your corner. So we don't need help from nobody. I'm gonna just pray it out and you don't have prayer support or accountability or covering. But you alone are gonna pray against rulers and principalities of this earth that are there are levels to them. That makes sense.
Yeah. Right. So in essence, we all need somebody.
And that's why it's okay to seek out a coach. It's okay to seek out help. You can't do it alone. Not when you're traumatized.
Not when you're traumatized because you're all over the place. You're not healed. You don't have the right tools, and you don't have the right know-how to. So you need somebody to help you. Beautiful, Chantal, beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, so we're almost at the end. Anything else? Sure.
The reason why I keep saying not when you're traumatized is because, let's say, for example, in my case, I cannot consume MSG.
Okay.
Can't consume MSG. If I do, I have headache for 4 days or a week, and I know what I need to do to get rid of it for that week. But let's say a week pass and my headache kill me to the point where I can't even go out in light and I can't even eat food and I start throwing up. It means that something has started to happen that is outside of my ability to cope. I'm in need to go get help.
Yes.
Yeah. So when you are traumatized, it's not just a little prick on the hand finger with a needle and you can put a bandage and peroxide and thing over it and you're good. I'm talking about those extreme situations where you're not functioning right, you're not sleeping, you're not eating, you need help.
Yes. Very powerful, very powerful. But Chantal, before we go, encouragement for our audience.
Encouragement.
Yes.
From one, I want to use the word overcomer to another, or if you're going through it, from one bounded person, because I was bounded, but now I'm free.
Yes.
To another, if you're bounded, if you are in a cycle, if you are going around in circles, if you are stuck, from one person who was stuck, from one person who was suicidal, from one person who thought that they didn't have worth. I know what rejection feels like. I know what abuse, both physical and sexual, feels like. I know what lack feels like. I know what isolation, abandonment feels like. I know how hard it can get. However, if you decide to just try I promise you, I promise you, I promise you, I promise you with every fiber of my being that if you decide to try with God's help and the help that may come through other people, you can get through it. You can heal. You can experience joy. You can experience peace. But you have to decide to try.
Try.
You have to decide to try. Just decide to try. When you've decided to try with God,
Yeah.
I have to put that in there. When you decided to try with God, yes, you now give him something to work with.
Yes.
You now activate faith as small as a mustard seed. You now have the ability to keep going one step at a time.
Yes.
And if you keep going with God's help, I promise you, I can bank on God every single day. I promise you, like I was saying earlier, he wastes no experience. Absolutely none. My experience, I think, was meant to tear me apart in such a way that I probably would not exist anymore. I probably would not have been here or discovered purpose in pain and trauma, which is the name of my book. But my experience was meant to kill, steal, and destroy me. But God turned it around, even though it was my fault, in the sense that I got instructions not to do a thing. I got vivid visions and dreams not to do the thing, and this was coming. And so I had a choice. I had a part to play. Yes. But I decided to go against the instructions. And as a result, yeah. And as a result, I had to suffer the consequences of my choices. And we have to realize that some of the things that we go through have not to do with God. They are the consequences of our own choices. But in the midst of all of that, he says, don't worry. I'm going to work it out for your good so that he can get the glory. He's going to turn this into a message. He's going to turn this trial and tribulation, this test into a testimony so that he can get the glory because he's going to do what you cannot do. And so deciding to try with God, I promise you, you will come out on the other side. Like, just try God.
Yeah, just try God. Just try.
That's all I'm saying. Just try God. Try God. Like, we try the devil every day. We try the struggle every day. We try the pain every day. We give the pain more voice than it needs to have every single day. Because woe is me, and I was there. I used to be the headmaster of the pity party. So I know. Yes? But
yeah,
this one time, tonight, try God. Try him and see what he does. Try him and see what he does.
Beautiful. You hear? Try God. Nothing you do, leave out God. Try God. And even though you may have messed up and feel like he has forgotten you, he hasn't forgotten you. He has just allowed you to go your way and do your thing. And then he decides to pick you back up, basically. Right? So just try God. Beautiful, Chantaeu. I love it. For the finale, I love it. In spite of our little power outage, we're back stronger than ever. All right, before we go though, I want you to tell our audience where they can find you and how they can get to work with you and all of that.
I just saw a comment from Trey about
yes.
Trey's getting bun, make him find it hard to celebrate Easter. It sounds like we need to have a talk, Trey. I'll help you to figure out some healthy coping mechanisms so you can look at bun and enjoy it for the niceness that it is. Bun and cheese.
And Jody say yes, and try him full out. Yes, Absolutely. Jody.
Absolutely.
And stronger, better.
Yeah.
Trace victorious.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where you can find me, Chantaeu Munroe, on all platforms. I should probably put it in the chat because people tend to get my name wrong.
Okay, sure.
Right. As well as CKM Healing Consultancy on all platforms. And there
Beautiful.
you will find everything that you want to know about me, about my company, about the services that I offer, my book, the events, all of the things.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed. Thank you, Chantaeu. It was my pleasure having you on. I mean, you have dropped so many powerful gems. You have given so many powerful words. I mean, encouraging others, just try God, And that's the most powerful thing. Try God in everything that we do.
Yeah.
Try God. No matter how disappointing, how bad the mess may seem, try God, in everything that we do, try Him. And He's always there, no matter how we feel like, okay, then we have messed up and we feel bad about ourselves, go on to Him same way. Go to Him same way. Yeah, go to Him same way and see what happens. And I'm sure you'll feel rewarding. It will bring you joy. It will bring a sense of freedom. I mean, as I always say, it's not a quick fix.
Nope.
It's not a quick fix. It's a process. And in our process and in our valley, it's bittersweet down there. But there are some lessons that we need to learn and some takeaways that we need, to take away from our valley moments. So the valley, we need to honor it, right?
Yeah.
I believe in honoring our valley, embrace what it comes with, That's where we'll find our tools, and that's how we'll get our result.
Exactly.
Right. So we're at the end of our session.
Yes, I'm so proud of you. You did it.
Thank you. I'm proud of me too. I mean, we're at the end of season 1.
Yeah.
Coaching conversation. What started out as just me saying, Lord, I'm tired. What do I do?
Yeah.
It seems like nothing is happening, I'm feeling stuck. What do I do? One morning out of prayer devotion, I got 2 names.
Yeah.
Coaching conversation on the deck. And I was like, oh, but where do I find the coaches? We're like all over the place. We're all over the place. What do I do? I mean, the internet is there. But Lord, me not go on internet. I don't do lives. I don't do these things. Can I tell you? So I'm proud of myself.
That's good.
And I'm giving God thanks. I'm giving God thanks. What I bargained for was 8 weeks. But then Chantaeu said, no, I need to be on. And I said, yes. I said yes. And I'm so grateful, for 9 inspiring weeks. I mean, persons have been inspired. I mean, persons are saying, look at you, 9 impactful episodes later. Yeah. Thank you, Aisha. Thank you, the grace of God, And, persons have been saying, oh, my eyes are open up to certain things. And they call and they say, oh, but that lady, oh, and that gentleman. And I'm like, okay, then we're going places. We're going places.
Let's keep going. Yep.
Yes, so I'm thankful. Thank you, Richie. Thank you. So I can say, safe to say, look out for season 2.
All right. I'm looking forward.
Season 2, I mean, I've been getting calls already. I've been getting messages. I'm like, okay, I never thought that would be. It's okay then.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead, And I remember then I said, don't look at it as a little thing. Don't say that. Don't say that. And I remember saying it to you. Yes. So, I'm just grateful. Thank you guys for coming on each week. Thank you for interacting with us. And, just look out for bigger and better things. And just remember, as Chantaeu says, try God. If you don't take away anything, Try God. Remember that out of everything that was said tonight. Remember. Try God. Let that one stick and stay. Try God. Because without him, we're nothing. And it may seem as cliche, we say these things all the time, but it's the truth. It is the truth. God owes us nothing, He owes us nothing, but yet still, he has planned to prosper us. When we mess up and we feel like, okay, then I'm far gone. Just go to him sincerely and surrender. Remember what was said, Saturday, Chantaeu?
Surrender.
When surrender, we become what? Is a super woman. You understand? So when we surrender to God, we become powerful. We can soar like the eagle. We're going places. We're at places where we never thought we would have been.
Yeah.
Right? So in everything, remember, try God. And I just want to say thank you again. Thank you, Chantaeu. This is not the end of us. Yes, I show my friend them that. Yes, girl. The girl from over here. So until next time, see you guys. Stay tuned for season 2. And we'll send you all the updates. Remember where you can find Chantaeu. And we'll see you on the other side. Good night, everyone.
Good night, guys. Stay safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.